This is your daily market review for Thursday, February 20th, 2025. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is daily market review for Thursday, February 20th, 2025. Hopefully you're having a great day. Again, nailing the action as it comes out. You know, we talked about the traders market. Market was rising, it was back up near the highs, and talked about, again, if you've been following the channel at all, which again, I think some people move in and out of following it, which I get it. It's hard to follow everything every day. But we talked about the Stock Traders Almanac. We talked about how the middle to the end of February is typically bearish. If you go look at the Stock Traders Almanac, the rest of the month, every day that is bull or bear is bear. So that's typically, and being at the highs, again, with everything that's going on, I'm not saying necessarily the market has to like fall off a cliff, which it could. We'll talk about some of the things I'm seeing, but it's definitely due to pull back, profit taking. So again, new to the channel, check out the Discord room, links description below. I appreciate all the love, support, generous donations. If you want to get involved, hit the Calendly link. Let me know what you need. Playa. Book a session. If you want to talk about real estate, looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, I can help you anywhere in the country. If you're looking for an agent, I promise you get 2 agents for the price of 1. It's a good deal. And again, if you don't hit me up and you buy a piece of real estate, I'm like, all right, well, I can't advise you on it. My favorite part is obviously the negotiation. We can talk about that another time. But also, too, if you're looking to understand how to trade better, what to expect in the markets, what platforms to execute on, if you have questions in general about how to invest long term, holler at your boy. Again, I mean, I don't give out like short-term trading advice unless it's in the Discord room, because again, I typically don't expect people to execute very easily. You know, everyone gets very emotional. So, but again, if you want to join the Discord room and learn, follow. There's some really there's some great other traders in there that, you know, I've worked with. I've shown things to. They've shown things to me as well. Again, it's a growing platform. Again, in my belief that, again, when the student's ready, teach your peers. Also follow on Twitter, posting ideas, thoughts, concerns. Holler, man, Baba. I need to put Baba on the list. I'm just thinking out loud. And what else I was gonna say? Oh yeah, if you're looking for again, you're not in the Discord room, want to follow on Twitter, do that. Also like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You get alerted when these videos become live. Sometimes they're right after the close. Sometimes they're a little later. Again, life happens. I try to get these out as soon as possible. Here's all the education series. I always have people like, oh, I don't know how to trade. There's 52 videos here. Now, again, they're not all like super long, like 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes. Some of them are a little longer. But again, check them out. Let me know what you think. Love comments. Some of the older ones have a little crappier production, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll go back and do those at some point. But like, subscribe, notification bell. I appreciate it. Also, hit me up on the tradingagent.com. Again, turn profits into properties and passive income. That is the goal here, y'all. So we know going into tons of resources on the website as well. Recommended reading if you want the books. Stock Trader Almanac is right there. The link in the description. All right, we know coming up, nothing expected. I mean, the economy is weakening. We're seeing that. But the feds are in a pickle. Keep it simple, stupid. Good old Bitcoin chopping around. I know a lot of people who are, I mean, again, I'm bullish, bearish. I'm like, I don't have a beef in the game. It's interesting. This is not updated. That should be at 98,000. I apologize. Hit the refresh button. Eat fresh, refresh. Subway. Eat fresh. This refresh, trying to be funny. This refresh on your screen is sponsored by Subway. Eat fresh, refresh. Oh, now you're going to be slow. There we go. Again, as we've said, if you want to buy the range lows, you can. Tight stops. If you want to short the range highs, you can do that. At this point, we've talked about there's a reoccurring formation that happens a lot in stocks, bonds, whatever you want to call it. Again, it's any asset class. After a big run, you learn to consolidation. Consolidation is good, right? It builds for bigger moves. So keep an eye on it. If this is going higher, you want to see a consolidation pattern. If it breaks the range lows, it's probably coming back into the 70s. Oil, it's been holding up. Nice little bounce off the range lows. That's why we talk about these areas. Again, personally, I will be more bullish when the market is done. And when I say done, meaning like it's due to pull back, then I'll jump on that. Natural gas hits the range highs again. We'll see here. I'm loving this. I'd love to see it in the $1.80 to 250 range. I mean, that could be wishful thinking, but keep an eye on it. Again, we like commodities long term. If you've been paying attention to the channel at all, you at least know that one thing we've been consistent on. I like commodities long term. Dollar. Here we go. Range lows. You're welcome. 200-day. This is where it could get weird. Remember, if the market starts pulling back, dollar could get crushed. And again, probably like, what's the importance of the dollar? I'm looking at the volatility. The dollar has been leading up as other currencies have been absolute trash. And if the dollar starts pulling back, is the U.S. gonna slow down? That's the question, right? Like we have been, and to me, we've been in a recession for what seems like forever. If you take out government, like endless government spending and increasing budgets, if they actually fiscally become conservative, it's going to be a painful transition. You have to. I mean, let's not get involved with politics in here. Let's just talk about straight facts here. Endless government spending. If you start cutting that 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50%, whatever they end up doing, it's going to be painful. Private sector, keep the money. But we had a lot of debt to pay down. Bonds, we said watch the 20-day. Seems to be holding it so far. So good. VIX. Due to bounce. Talked about that. Interesting doji today. Big wick. I mean, I don't really think you can really get too excited about anything unless you get over the 100-day. Got to get over 17. VIX had nothing in it today, right? Nothing. Keep it on it. SPY pulls back, right? We make new highs. We're chopping in this upper zone. We've had crap volume for days. I mean, you open low and then you just rally back for the most part slowly all day. We'll see. Q. Held the 8 and 10-day. Look at this. Breaks out. Gets back to the old highs. We talked about 3 Mile Island. 1, 2. I don't know which island. Which is forward. I don't know. Either way, we talked about the 8 and 10-day being like the short-term primary trend. You got to hold. If we don't hold, you've got to fold. Make sense? Cool. Cool story, bro. Keep it on it. IWM. Some folks took the short. Give shout out to my man, Joe. Joe T. Said, I like the short at the 20, 50, 100-day. Every freaking moving average converging. Like, makes sense to me. Nice trade, my friend. I'm trying to think of it. I mean, this has been a sloppy, choppy son of a bitch. You've got, like, the double top. You've got the lower base. Man, this thing could get crushed. But here's the thing, right? It could also get in the chop cycle. Manage the trades. You really need to get below this 220 area to see some teens. Two teens. Dia. This looks like probably the better short, right? You have a lower high, 20-day break. Looking pretty good. I mean, I like that trade as well. Gold. 2 times range. We hit the upside target. Nobody believed this. I mean, I've had this. Again, maybe I'm trying to think of who will like typically post and respond. Eric, if you're listening to this, remember how long ago we talked about 2 times? At some point, this is a big cup and fucking handle. There we are. Now, near term, expecting some chop. But if gold's going to keep ripping, gold's going to keep ripping. I'm in record saying, you don't need to overthink this trade. But if it's like Bitcoin, you had a nice move. Here it is, like a big move, and then it led to consolidation. A decent move. Maybe you just need a little decent consolidation. The silver surfer. This is where it's holding above mid-29s. But you really need to get over Friday's range for me to trust that. Like, just, is it Friday? I think it was Monday. I can't remember. No, Friday, Monday. Monday's range. Friday's range, Dan. It's like, whoa, the drugs just kicked in, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Friday's range. Got to get over it. That's a big red bar with volume. Get over it. I don't know why you wouldn't get back into the 31s. Again, long term, disappear, and you'll find no pain in the metals, in my opinion, long term. Miners, we like miners. Long term, near term, they're just not leading. This is what gets hard. Like, you want to see, if you see, like, and again, the moves that I trust in gold miners is when gold rises and miners just outperform. They've underperformed. It makes me, again, as of trading these things for like 20 plus years, it makes me a little questionable. Not that long term, near term. Keep an eye on this stuff, right? AEM, like, this thing should have been up today, right? You know, just chopping and it's not making new highs. AG, right? This is chop. I mean, man, this makes sense down here to buy in the 5s. Keep an eye on it. Newmont Mining. Holding up pretty damn well. Oh, if you're watching the USA hockey game tonight, go America. Pass. Man, I hope it opens up with 5 fights this game. If you're watching pass, this is one of those things, right? It's just, man, it's a big bowl, some sort, W pattern. You have to get over 25s. Again, I like commodity. I like these names long term. I don't trust them. You can probably hear it in my tone. I'm like, it's kind of suspect. Taiwan Semi said the 100-day has to hold. Holding for now. Micron, let's speed this up. I'm thinking about that hockey game tonight. It's going to be fun. 200-day. Micron chopping in a big range again. I think chips are cooked. I mean, even Apple today is like, oh, we're going to get rid of Broadcom. Or phase them out in time. We'll see. AMD, 20-day. This thing was dead cat due to bounce. Not surprised, right? We've talked about this stock. I mean, it's like, I think it's going to go significantly lower in time, but it doesn't mean it's going to go in a straight line. If it bounces, it should make sense. Like, this is the thing, uptrend, downtrend, whatever. It doesn't go in a straight line the whole way. And sometimes you have to back test. NVIDIA, I mean, it makes earnings coming up in the 26th. Keep that in mind. Talk about if you wanted to short in this area, the gap is ideal. You didn't get it. You didn't get it. Now watch. I mean, the volume's going to be light here, and the options premium is going to get expensive, so just be careful. SMCI. This is nuts, man. I mean, this thing goes from 20 up to 60 real quick. Now what? Your guess is good as mine. I would personally be taking profits. I mean, if they're still got boogeymen in the closet, skeletons in the closet, whatever you want to call it, be careful. Be careful, okay? Intellectual property. Another inside day. What do we say? Need to hold the 200-day? So far, so good. Again, I personally think there's no premium for this to get bought out. Again, if they do business deals with other companies to make chips, cool. I just don't think the chips they're making, I don't know, they don't seem to have any advantage. AVGO gets that Apple news. It makes sense why this thing hasn't been going anywhere. Watch the 50-day. If this thing breaks the 50-day, I don't know why it wouldn't come back to 198. There's some points to be had there. SMH, chopping around. Again, I like the stocks here. Man, 17s makes sense to me. 16s. Another doji. Decent move up. Getting tired. Going into seasonal weakness potential. Makes sense to me. Adobe. We talked about this being like a head and shoulders bottom, holding a 20-day. Now what? These are hard because when you zoom out, you see a downtrend. You see it's due to bounce. How high? That's the question, right? Like, I think the 470s would make sense, but if the market's going to peter out, leave it alone. Oh, Apple, the fruit. This one today, shorted today. Again, all in? No. Started layering. Keep an eye on it. I think you can short Apple right here in this area with a tight stop. Keep an eye on it. They're like, what's your downside? Okay, sorry, I'm like jumping to it. I'm like, you got to worry about the entrance first. But my downside would be the 200-day moving average. It'd be somewhere down in these 220s. I think there's some points to be had. Amazon, we talked about this. Has been lagging, right? Seems to be lagging. Meta, we talked about this one. Like, these blow-off tops are so hard to fucking pick tops. Said watch the 20-day. That close today's act. Two indecisive days here after a professional gap down. This could get fugly. CRM finally broke the 100-day. Hiya. We'll see. And double top. I mean, some of these names have been on fire. Google, mid 180s is the key. Just keep it simple, stupid. Microsoft, Mr. Softy. I mean, they come out with some quantum chips yesterday. XDiv today. This thing just doesn't seem to really have it. That's my opinion. NDAQ. Talked about long term. I think this is a good short. If this is a cup and handle to trap and break out, doesn't make sense. This index is going to die on the buying of volume. I mean, these tech stocks, think about when money flows and goes, it's not going to be going back. It's going to take years. I mean, think about, remember, like Microsoft went nowhere for 15 years. Intel, nowhere. Some of these tech names. MicroStrategy, here you go. Chopping around 100 days. Key. Netflix. Again, I finally just capitulated. Like, I don't know. But then again, we talked about it if you watch the recaps last couple, like, this is a kind of reoccurring formation where you gap up. I mean, you can see it. Well, again, I don't want to do it every freaking recap. After a big move, big gap up, you make a new high, and then you fail. We talked about it. If you would have sold the 1050 puts after earnings, you got paid. You sold the 1100s on this bounce, or you did something. Again, I personally think the 8 and 10 day, if it breaks, watch this area around 990. It feels like it's I don't know how much more upside there really is. Again, keep an eye on it. Again, Jay Solstice dropping the options trades, always appreciated. Roblox, gaps down on earnings. It seems to be stuck between that earnings candle. We talk about big candles and big volumes, like the lows and the highs matter. Can't get over the high. We'll go below the low. Keep an eye on it. I mean, that's a big spread. It's a 10% spread. Pan W, my prayers be answered, please. I'm like, please don't break out. Please don't break out. We talked about the 200-day, probably due to bounce. I like cybersecurity names. If I'm going to play any tech, it's cybersecurity long term. It is not. Again, I am not trying to pick the winners of the product war. Tesla, talked about the dead for cat bounce. Now what? Holding the 8 and 10-day. Be careful. That's all I can really say. Please be careful. Insight. We talked about this. If you bought the dip on this, I love this one. I think this name gets bought out in the biotech names, healthcare. Keep an eye on it. HIMS. Talked about yesterday's action, felt very below off topish. I put double arrows on it. All right, you hammer today, keep an eye on it. I mean, it's the short interest probably. I mean, if you were short, we talked about this. I mean, imagine if you shorted here and you didn't cover, you just got blew the fuck out. So pretty sure they got blown out. Palantir, here's the thing, we talk about big moves. At some point, this is what gets so hard is you never take profits. You sometimes don't know how violent and fast the pullbacks can be. 125 down to 95. That's a huge pullback. If you didn't take any profit, you didn't do shit. Wow. We just say watch what happens in the gap here. You held it. Keep an eye on it. Again, I'm personally, is this a $1 trillion company? Probably. But even if it's not, it's going to have some pains along the way. Baba. Look at today's action. I mean, it was like watching this. Like, this feels like, man, everybody and their mom now loves China. China. This thing goes, I mean, if you zoom out, actually, it's it's had a nice run. Look at this thing, right? Like here's like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Again, I'm not really much of a wave person, but I don't have to be a surfer to recognize this wave. Wow. Keep an eye on it. And volume at the highs. Everybody all in. Yeah, take profits, run. Sell options on that. That's what I'd be doing today if you own that stock. I'd be selling options. McDonald's chopping around, not much to say. DKNG, you silly biscuit, breaks out, right? We said, what happens? You got to hold the 48. Yeah, so far so good for holding 48. But keep an eye on it because, again, this feels very Trumpish. Keep an eye on it. Airbnb, look at that bounce or that pop. I mean, now it's just giving it back slowly. I mean, again, things that you don't see if the market's strong. Like these things gap up should be falling through. Costco, which has been leading. We talked about the 1.618. Head and shoulders top. Raggy. Looks good. I mean, a pullback, it's definitely due. I don't want to go through it that depth, but if you watch previous videos, like I expect it to pull back at some point. Starbucks, I like the short up here, man. If you get the 113.80, the 1.618 would be my favorite. That's my favorite fib extension. That and the 2. Man, it all lines up perfectly. Then the 109 would be your next support. Yep, keep an eye on it. FedEx, nice little bounce. Keep an eye on it. I mean, I think, again, this thing should be ripping, but it's not. Look at Caterpillar, right? We talked about this one has to hold. Wide and loose today, right? Like Bears pissed, Bulls getting excited, close at the low. Screw both parties over. Dems and Republicans got screwed on this candle. That makes sense. Left and right, up and down. Deer, we talked about this one acting like a tech stock. This multi-candle pattern. Just talked about it here. Like you better, again, this is why no one ever takes profit. That's fine. I'll talk to myself in these videos and reinforce my own lessons for trading. Got to be careful. Due for pullback. Chop at worst. Nucor, chopping around. We like commodity names. I don't, how many times I have to say it every video. I like these names. Let them chop around. Excelente. Right? Chopping around. Sorry, I got a text. VALE. Got some dinner plans here tonight. We talked about the bottom. You're welcome. I know some folks are holding on to this. Congrats. Again, we like commodities long term. You're picking them off the bottom. If they retest, they don't. Retest, whatever. You don't know. You're picking them at the prices that make sense. Like here, for example, Arrow makes sense down here, right? Goes from 20s down to this 13 level. Big volume at the lows. Will it break out or break off the lows? You don't know. But this area makes sense, right? CCJ, I'm not interested in this name until it has more pullback. It looks, people go, oh, I'm like, no. Zoom out, man. This thing could come way back into the 20s. That's what I'd be watching. 30s. CF. We like ag names. They're playing chop game. Choppy sloppy. Let them play that choppy sloppy game. Mosaic. Choppy sloppy. NTR. Choppy sloppy. AA Aeron. Man, I need to get into financials here quick. Again, we like that. Leave it. Just let them breathe. XLF. We talked about this trap up here. I'm like, man, banks hold all the freaking problems. You're like, oh, you're an idiot. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hold my JPM puts till June. Why not? All right, finally, 20-day. JP Morgan. This candle is a candle from God. This is why profits, if not taken, can get taken quickly by the market. Look at that. Weeks of hold in one day. Come on, be the start. Morgan Stanley down 4.5% today. Yes. Bring the freaking pain. Bank of America. We talked about this one chopping around and lagging. Yes, new low. Goldman Sachs. Oh, I'm never going to take profit. Okay, bam. We talked about this wedge. Boom, broken. 20-day. Now again, keep an eye on the stuff. We can't. Carry. Same thing. Looks like it's about to roll over. Not saying that it has to be like a straight line move, but I feel like there's a downtrend or a top is in. So top means chop. Hopefully the trend goes down. XBI, again, this is a risk-on name, not doing shit. Jets. Benny and the Jets. I don't know why I say that all the time. Chop top. Watch the 50-day. Again, I think that makes sense. XHB. Keep an eye on this, right? Housing stocks near the range lows. I don't know if I trust them. Solar. We talked about yesterday's action. If you looked at it, it's like, ugh, that didn't really look so good. Look at that hammer. Sedge had a nice bounce. Hits the freaking J curve. Hits the 200-day, pulling back. I don't trust solar. Well, whatever. Keep an eye on it. ENPH. Long term, there's going to be some solar action in this stuff, but I don't trust it. First Solar seems to be, to me, the best one. HYG, not a fan. Of corporate debt, I think you got to be high out of your mind. Oil. You're like, well, you're in Colorado. I bet you're high. No, I'm not. It's 2:30 on a Thursday. Oil. Chopping around. Natural gas. We talked about, I hate the UNG, but here we go. Keep it on it. KOLD. This is what gets crazy. Once these products decay, man, if you shorted in this in the 80s, you're welcome. Leave a comment below if you've traded this. Again, I think at this point, though, don't be surprised if it bounces some. Now, remember, though, when it gets down to like 20 to 15 percentage-wise, because remember, it's a 3-day leverage mover, ultra short, ultra bear, whatever, or ultra long. Oh, man. Maybe it only can get back to 30. Shit. I was just thinking about that the other, when I sent that last night. I'm like, we'll see. Either way, again, it's been a great trade. XOP, 200-day, chop range. Keep an eye on it. ExxonMobil, we like this long term, right? But just big choppy ranges. Your friend CVE, we like. If you like oil, you got to like the junior names. They got some good bases. Again, if you want to buy this and just let it stuff it, keep an eye on it. Keep it simple. Valero. Again, we talk about the gasoline names need a lead. Valero seems to be lagging a little more than NPC. NPC is more of a, if I remember correctly, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like they're more European based, but we'll see what happens here. Chopping around the range highs. BP, you're welcome. JSolsa special. Discord special. Teamwork special. Everyone jumping on that one. Nice trade. Near term. Maybe a little tired. Makes sense. Occidental. Again, I like Oxy. Buffett ain't gonna lose. We said yesterday, the volume. Keep an eye on this. Now, again, I'm not saying that it can't pull back, but the risk reward, he's going to keep buying. He is committed. Dude is committed. When Buffett's committed to buying something, he knows something, and then they increase their dividend, if I remember correctly. EQT holding up pretty well at the highs. And last but not least, Flex LNG. Again, I like the idea that we will be natural gas exporters. However, just keep in mind, if there's truce and there's some stuff going on in Middle East, Europe, again, I still think we'll be exporters. But look at this juicy-ass dividend, man. 11%. 11%. Okay, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Always here to help. Love you guys. Please feel free to leave a comment, leave a heart, ask a question. Love you guys. Peace out.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.